Hi everyone, my name is Philip. I'm going to talk about qualitative coding. So qualitative coding is all about data summary. So you are trying to summarize the data, moving from specific information participants have given to you into abstract information so that you can present that information to your audience and address your research question that you have. So in terms of coding, what you are doing is that you are systematically going through participant transcript, identify significant information, and then assigning labels to those significant information. And those labels could be called code. And then how do you assign labels to them? I think there are three main ways of developing codes or assign labels to significant information that you identify in the transcript. The first one is describing, right? So what you're doing is that you are going through participant transcript, identifying significant information that you think might help you to address your research question, and you just describe what you identify. And then based on the description, we come up with a phrase which could be in between 2 to 5 words to represent that significant information, right? So normally you see yourself at this stage as your role as a researcher is like a reporter. You go through the transcript, try to understand what participants are telling you, and then identify areas that you think they are significant that would help you to address your research question. And then you just describe based on your understanding, and that description you come up with a phrase that will represent that significant information, at the same time indirectly address your research question. So that's the description part. The second option or strategy is the interpretation strategy. This is where you go through the transcript. You have to first understand what participants are telling you and then identify significant information. You try to make sense of the significant information. The reason being that directly describing what participant has given you will not address your research question that you have. You have to first interpret, make sense of it. What does this information mean? Based on the meaning or what it means, based on your interpretation of the significant information, you develop a label called code, right, to help you to address your research question that you have. The last one is making inference. How do you do that? You go through the data, you see the data as evidence, and then based on the evidence you have in the data, you want to come up with a conclusion, right? So based on what you see, what conclusion should we make? What inference should we make? What claim should we make based on the information that you have in the data, evidence that you have? So you are making a conclusion based on the significant information that you have identified. So based on the conclusion, you come up with a phrase that is in between 2 to 5 words to represent each of the claims that you come up with. So these are the three strategies of coming up with code. You can use one when you are doing only one of them when you are doing the coding process. In my book, which is a step-by-step guide to qualitative data coding, I came up with 3 main types of coding strategy that you want to use to come up with codes that will be used to address or indirectly address your research question that you have. So in terms of the description, the name for the coding strategy is called description focus coding, and we have interpretation focused coding. This is where when you identify significant information, you first interpret or make sense of it, right? How do you make sense? You have to consider the intent of participant, the background of participant, that will help you to better understand what a person is telling you or interpret or make sense of what they are telling you, right? And then based on that, we develop labels to represent that significant information, and make sure that the label is also helping you to indirectly address the research question that you have. The last option is presumption focused coding, which is similar to, or is the same thing as making inference, right? Try to make conclusion or make a claim based on what you see in the data.